how much of a learner is this person? That's really what's going to make them great. They have to get better when they get to college. They can't rest or ride on, hey, I was the best player on my club team. That's great, but you're not going to be the best player on your college team when you start out.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Adam Ellis, Club Director at NPJ, and today I'm joined with the head coach from St. Mary's College, Rob Browning. Rob, thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here, and I happen to have some time on my hands, so this is great. I love it.
Definitely. Hey, talk to us a little bit about your program and what the culture of your program is. You know, it's had a lot of success over the years, so we kind of want to just dig a little bit deeper into the success and the culture of your program.
Sure. Yeah. Like any team, we strive to have a strong, cohesive team culture. My philosophy is to create an environment where everyone can thrive. Student athletes, coaches, the entire groups, support staff. I want to create an environment where everyone can thrive. And so thriving inherently includes with it that there's going to be change, there's going to be learning, and that's not easy. Changing is a hard thing, making changes. So our team culture is, I would describe it as, vibrant, really work hard to get a lot of respect and trust going in our team culture. But the one thing that it's not is smooth, and we don't want it to be smooth. When you're trying to really better yourself and do something as a group that's hard and really push yourselves, there's going to be a lot of times where it's not very smooth, and that's part of the thing. It's not just okay that it's not smooth, it's actually desired. We want there to be an environment where we're addressing conflict, where we feel free to say what we want to say and not just kind of go with the flow. So culture is really important, of course. It's critical to being successful, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to create the strong memories and relationships.
Good. Love hearing about that. So, Rob, you've been to four Olympics, and actually won a gold medal with the men in 2008 in Beijing, I believe. Can you tell us what it's like to win a gold medal?
Yeah, well, just to be precise and clarify, of course, in the Olympics, only the athletes actually get a gold medal.
Okay.
Coaches don't get them. I started off with the men's national team in 1999 as a technical coordinator, ended up going to the Olympics in 2000, 2004 in Athens. And then I started my job here at St. Mary's. I went as a team leader in 2008 and 2012 to Beijing and London. And 2008 is the Olympics where the team won a gold medal. And, if you were to look at a photo of that group on the medal stand, I was the one who did the least to help that team win a gold medal, because I was here at St. Mary's and I was kind of going along on trips and things like that. But the experience was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal. I was really familiar with that team because I was with them full time for the two prior Olympics. I got to go with them to Beijing. Hugh McCutcheon was the head coach. Hugh did an amazing job of preparing that team for anything that might come their way, and any obstacles, trials that might come along in their quest to win a gold medal. They were one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the world going into the event. They won World League. There was some really unique challenges in that Olympics for that team that they overcame. And so it was amazing. It was awesome. The fact that I got to be affiliated with that team, I got to be with them there and be with them every step of the way in that event, all the way through to winning the gold medal, especially after having spent, 8 years with them in their pursuit of winning a gold medal, which they didn't do in 2000, 2004. To see that come to fruition in 2008 was awesome. I was extremely fortunate just to be there and be part of that. I learned some really important lessons from that team about unselfish leadership, about leadership from Hugh McCutcheon and how he prepared that team, about how to deal with adversity, how people stepped up when things didn't go as planned, and unforgettable, really unforgettable. One of those things that whenever I come across any one of those athletes or coaches, you share that, and you'll share that for the rest of your lives, that unique experience of being on top of the world, really. And I was extremely fortunate to have been part of it.
Rob, I was talking with a few different people, just, different coaches throughout the country, and, I had the opportunity to let them know that we were going to be talking today. And there's just so much respect for you as a volleyball coach and a mentor throughout the country. You've had a number of coaches that have coached for you and then gone on to coach at a very high Division I level. Keegan Cook at Washington, Brent Crouch, who is now at Auburn, Sam Crossan, who's at Cal, and most recently, Megan Burton, who's at University of Portland, who you will hopefully get to play next year. What can you tell coaches that are watching this interview? What can you give them maybe some words of wisdom, or maybe some things that those individuals had in common that allowed them to really be able to coach at that next level?
Yeah. I again, extremely fortunate to have had all of those coaches come through our program as assistant coaches. Megan Burton was a student athlete of mine that we recruited, and she was on the team that won the West Coast Conference Championship. So I've been very fortunate my entire career here at St. Mary's to get great assistant coaches. So I guess I've done a good job at hiring. I've gotten just really good people. I would say the thing that set those coaches apart and makes them who they are, and has helped them get to where they've gotten, and certainly it wasn't me who got them where they are. It was on their own merit. When they were here with me, they treated this team as if it was their team. They didn't view their position as just, hey, I'm an assistant, I'll do whatever Rob says, but I'm not gonna invest 100%. They treated the team as if it was their team. Every win, every loss, every success, every failure, they felt through and through as if they were the head coach. And that's what made them great coaches, great assistant coaches. That's what makes them great coaches now, is how much they care and how much time and effort they put into it, how much of their heart is into what they do. They put everything into it. I noticed that when I watch you coach your teams, Adam, that you are absolutely 100% with them. You're not just out in front of them, leading them. You are with them in the trenches. Your energy, how you deal with them in the gym. These coaches were like that, and they continue to be like that. That's what made them great assistant coaches. That's the one advice I would give to any assistant, whatever your role is, even if you're just starting off as a statistician or director of volleyball operations. Invest in it 100%. Care about it so much that, it hurts and it feels great, and you feel everything, and you develop relationships with the players, and you lead and you follow, and you're right there with them. So yeah, those coaches are awesome. I'm very proud to have said that they all had an experience here at St. Mary's, and to see them being so successful.
That's great advice. Great advice for coaches looking to move up. Really appreciate that. So you had the ability to establish beach volleyball at St. Mary's College as a 17th intercollegiate sport back in 2013. How many athletes on your roster also play beach? And are you very involved with the beach program still?
I am very involved. I have every step of the way. I've had different roles. I've been head coach, assistant coach, not a coach because they limit the number of indoor coaches that can help there. But regardless of what my role has been, heavily involved. All of our student athletes play beach. They all play beach. All of our indoor players play beach. We currently have 6 beach-only student athletes, which is amazing. That's 2 years ago we had 1. The year before that we had 0, so we had 1. Then we had a few, and this year we had 6, and which is great. But still, all of our indoor athletes play to some degree, and so through the years, it's the student athletes that I recruited, that I work so hard with, that I care so much about. They've all been playing. So regardless of what role I've had on the team, I've been heavily involved and love the program. And I guess I'll go back to that, just how we started it. It was such a great thing. I'm so glad we did it. We were really in a position where we could do it well. And I would say we have been one of the most successful programs in the country in terms of teams that are using their indoor coaches and players to play beach. We've done very, very well. We had an advantage kind of right at the get-go because Dallas Dodd was here as one of our players. Her parents are Mike and Patty Dodd. Mike and Patty are Hall of Fame beach volleyball players and coaches. And so they helped us out right at the beginning. We also had some really good volleyball players who just right off the bat were good at beach, even though they hadn't played a ton. Jordan Shaw, Sam Tinsley. Dallas was amazing. Dallas got to play with Jordan and with Sam, and then she got to play with Lindsay Knudsen. We had Peyton Run come from your program, who was that class was really amazing. Peyton came, Lindsay Knudsen came. We had some other players that had developed themselves into really good beach volleyball players. So it's been great. It's been great. The thing that I love about it most is what it does for the student athlete experience. It's one thing to be an indoor volleyball player. That's awesome. If all you do is play indoor volleyball in the fall and the spring, you're going to have this wonderful, wonderful experience. If you get to play beach on top of that in the spring, and you get to still represent your school and go out and play and travel and have this change of environment and, play on the beach and learn that game, it's that much better, really. It's just been awesome. Even the players who've come in, Adam, like we've had some players come in that said, I really don't want to play beach and I've never played before. And I'm kind of anxious about it. When they finish, they love it. They absolutely love it. They love the experience. Beach in many ways is much more of a lifelong sport, that you're going to play late into your life because it's a little easier on your body and it's easier to get 4 people together and go play a game. It's been awesome. So we love it. We continue to love it. And we were doing well this year. We started off the season playing a bunch of ranked teams that we lost to, and then we won 4 in a row. And, we were going to have another winning season and do really well in the WCC. So anyway, yeah, it's a great asset to our program.
Rob, when you're recruiting athletes, do you look at if they have beach experience, and will you pass on a kid that potentially doesn't have beach experience?
We recruit for indoor only because we only have scholarships for indoor. We don't have any scholarships for beach. So we're recruiting for indoor, and it doesn't matter to us. Well, what we're looking at is how good are you at indoor, in whatever position we're looking at. If that prospective student athlete also has beach experience, which so many of them do now, like your club, you guys are doing beach. If they have beach experience, it's a bonus, and we like that. And so if it came down to 2 players, theoretically, let's say these 2 prospective student athletes for the same position, same class, we had 1 scholarship for them, and one had beach experience and the other one didn't, we'd probably take the one that has beach experience. But beyond that, we're not looking for that. That's not a prerequisite in any way. We're looking for players who can play indoor, and then we go from there. And if they haven't played beach, we'll teach them.
Very good. Very good. So, Rob, you've had so much success, both at the national level and then also at the collegiate level. What got you into coaching? Give us a little bit about your background and where did you find the passion for coaching?
Yeah, it's a great question. The answer is not one that you're going to expect. I majored in Spanish translation in college. Went on a mission to Argentina. I studied Spanish in high school, ended up majoring in it, loved speaking Spanish. That was my major. My minor was international relations. So I was not headed to be a coach. And when I left college, after I played volleyball and left college, I was not thinking about being a coach. At one point, I was asked to coach a basketball team. And I started doing it. This was out in Washington, D.C. area. And it was a church basketball team. So one practice a week, one game a week, just for fun. It was like a, service thing. It was like, hey, we want someone to help coach these boys. So I was doing that. And while I was doing it, I just thought, this is awesome. I love this. I love coaching. I've always enjoyed teaching. I've always thought I had, kind of affinity for teaching. And so I was really enjoying it. So then I thought, what, I'm going to start a club. I'm going to start a boys volleyball club. This was in Northern Virginia, Fairfax area. There was no boys volleyball. There wasn't boys volleyball in high school. There were no boys volleyball clubs. So I said, I'm going to start a boys volleyball club. So I went to a club, which at that time was the Fairfax Juniors Volleyball Club. And I said, look, can I do a boys team? And they said, you can try. You can try. We've tried before and we haven't got anyone. So I said, okay, I'm going to try. And I made a bunch of flyers and sent them out to all the girls in the club. And I said, tell your brothers and your boyfriends and your friends at school that we're going to have tryouts for a boys team. So we got this group to come, and it was kind of a ragtag group, and it was all different ages. And, but there were a bunch of boys who were playing volleyball, and they were into it. They were loving it. So we had tryouts, and I started that club and did that for about 6 years, and it was awesome. We went to junior nationals every year. Got second in the East Coast Championships after a couple years. And I still have strong friendships with those boys that I coached. So that's how it started. And I just caught the bug then. I just said, I want to do this. I want to do this. I told my wife that I was going to be an ambassador, and that's how I got her to marry me. And so then I came home one day and said, you know what? I'm going to just change course a little bit. I'm going to coach volleyball for very little money, right now. And started that club. And I loved it. And so I called Carl McGowan, who was the coach at BYU, because I went to BYU. He was the men's coach at BYU. And I said, look, I want to coach. Do you have any positions that are available? We wanted to move from the East Coast to the West Coast because Michelle was pregnant with our first child. And we're both from California. So we said, let's get back to the West Coast. So I called Carl and he said, yes, I've got this position available. It's called volunteer assistant coach. And so I said, awesome, let's do it. Picked up my family, moved across the country for a job that was a volunteer job. And kind of scary with a, new baby. And anyway, I worked a job on the side at a private school, did some teaching and worked in administration, and put my heart into helping the BYU men's volleyball program. The staff at that time was Carl McGowan, who's a legend, since passed away. Hugh McCutcheon was an assistant coach. Troy Tanner was the other assistant coach. I got to go be a part of that staff. And then the players on the team, Ryan Millar, Rich Lamborn, both gold medalists were on that team. Ozzie Antonetti, Hector LeBron, all these amazing, great players. There were a bunch of them. And so I got to do that for 3 seasons at BYU. Went to the men's national team after that as a technical coordinator, and then came here to St. Mary's. So anyway, in short, did not plan on being a coach. That was not my career objective when I left college. But I think that's kind of common for a lot of coaches. I don't think a lot of players, when they're playing, think I want to be a coach one day. They think, when I'm done with volleyball, I'm going to do something else. But a lot of us just fall back into it because we start coaching because it's something we can make some money on the side or whatever. We miss it. And then we realize how awesome it is. And we think, I could do this. I really love it. And I could make a career out of this.
Let's switch over to recruiting for a little bit. When you are recruiting, what are the top 3 things you look for in an athlete when you're recruiting them?
Yeah, great question. The top 3 things, because there's so many things we're looking at: their talent, their academics, their character. I would say the top 3 things that we're looking for. And so I'm not going to include how good they are at volleyball, because we're going to assume that that's, we want the best volleyball player we can get. So we're not going to include that in the list. Character, just what kind of character do they have? Personal character strengths, in terms of their work ethic and their integrity and their maturity, things like that. So character. I would say what kind of a teammate they are is extremely important. So when we're recruiting and watching a player play, we look at what they're doing when they're not playing. Between rallies, how are they interacting with their teammates? During a timeout, how are they interacting with their teammates? When their coach pulls them out of the game or things don't go well, what is their response? Do they, close up and just kind of go within themselves, or are they still reaching out and trying to figure out ways to help their team win? So the teammate part of it is huge. And then I would say the third thing, and this is a hard thing to determine because it's not visible to us, is how much of a learner is this person? How good are they going to be? We can all see how good they are because we're watching them play. The question is, how good are they going to be? Because that's really what's going to make them great. They have to get better when they get to college. They can't rest or ride on, hey, I was the best player on my club team. That's great, but you're not going to be the best player on your college team when you start out, or at least you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be the best player. You should be on a team where you really have to push yourself to get better, to be as good as some of your teammates. So we want to know if they have a growth mindset, if they're going to keep getting better. That's a hard thing to determine. The pros even get that wrong. I mean, they get it wrong all the time. There's so many stories out there. The most obvious ones are like Tom Brady. None of the NFL scouts thought he was good enough to take first. There were 6 other quarterbacks taken before him. And that happens all the time in the NBA, in the major leagues, in the NFL. It's really hard to know who's going to be great, who's going to keep getting better. So that's something we try to determine by talking to the coach, by talking to the player, by looking at their improvement from one season to the next in club volleyball. How much better are they getting? So those are the top 3 things I would say: character, what kind of a teammate you are, and what kind of a growth mindset do you have.
Those are great characteristics and things to look for when recruiting. Love hearing all those. Hey, Rob, last question for you. What can we expect from the Gales in 2020 when we come watch a match?
2020, we're really excited about the season ahead. You can expect great things from us. We've got a great combination of experience and leadership, and we have a few really good incoming freshmen who are going to contribute right away. We have all of our positions covered really well. We feel really good about every position that we've got: the setters, the libros, the outsides, the middles. So we're excited. I would expect good things from us. We're going to be a good team again. We were a very good team last year, I thought. We were a good team and didn't quite, have the success that I think we should have had. like we did the year before when we did so well and made it to the tournament and everything else. We lost some really close matches last year. We lost some matches that we think we should have won. So we'll have a very good team again, and we're excited about it. I'll put a shout out for another NPJ alum there, Selby Christensen, who's awesome. She's coming back and had a great redshirt freshman year. Really, really good. Was doing great on the beach also. She was, all set to have another really good beach season. And anyway, Selby's got a bunch of great teammates too. And we're really looking forward to getting them back here. It's hard not being with them. Everyone can relate to that right now. It's really a bummer. They were totally into what they were doing, working hard, both on the sand and indoor. And now we're all over the world. We've got one of our players in Greece and one in Canada and one in Hawaii, and the others spread out in the Western US. And, but doing everything we can right now given the circumstances to prepare ourselves to do great in the fall.
Perfect. Well, head coach from St. Mary's College, Rob Browning, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, Adam, thank you very much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.